Absolutely, yes.
And that is what I think is happening. I think that a lot more people coming our way, but the thing that is we still have, the problems are so overwhelming that and my argument in the speech and elsewhere has been that we'll probably have to face a major crisis, but we better know what we're going to replace it with, and that's our job. And of course, we can resort to the Constitution. That's a pretty good guideline. Other countries don't even have that. At least we have a tradition, you know. So, and my talks are like the one I just gave. It's pessimistic economically, but long term, you know, I think good things are happening. I mean, 3 years ago, did you get crowds out like this, campaign for liberty, change in the Congress? And of course, one little litmus test on one particular issue is who would have ever thought that people in the street would talk about the Federal Reserve? So we're talking about the important issue. One point to make about the Federal Reserve, how important it is, you know, we have all these transactions. You buy goods, you pay for them, you work, you get paid for your labor and all. Everything is being measured by the money. But the money is involved with every transaction. So it's 1/2, it's 50% of every transaction happens in the money, and nobody really talks about it. They talk about the oil supplies going up and down and all the effects of oil. But what about the money supply, you know? And that, I think, we're getting some attention on. And that's encouraging. You can't solve the problems if you don't look at the monetary issue. Here we go.
When you had the out of the Fed and you had all the co-sponsors, but yet when they came up for a vote, even the co-sponsors didn't vote. How do you get past something?
More people like you. Well, what he's talking about is the audit the Fed. We had all the Republicans and a bunch of Democrats, and for various political reasons, it was put on that reform bill. The reform bill was terrible, but it got stuck on, and technically, you know, it was passed in the House. But then it went to conference and was taken out, which didn't surprise me one bit, because the Fed has got a lot of control, a lot of power in the Senate and elsewhere in the president. So it was taken out, and then the Republicans came, and they say, when the conference report came back, they said, we're going to put this back in. You have one motion on a bill like that. You can say, we want that part of the bill put back in. And that's the vote that was taken. And the Democrats, who had been on the co-sponsor, when push came to shove and it became a political issue and a partisan issue, and they went with their party rather than what they had promised their constituents.
Even though they co-sponsor.
Yeah, even though they were co-sponsors. Some people put that on, they figured, this bill won't go anywhere, and I have a lot of constituents like this. I'll get them off my back. I'm going to sign this bill, satisfy those kooky people, but because it'll never come up. Ron Paul never gets anything. But then when it comes to a vote, they're shocked and they're unhappy, and then they're trapped, and then their true colors come out. It means that we need to work harder.
Let me ask you sort of a philosophic question, and that's intervention in foreign activities. This coupled with the economic aspect of it. The Republican Party, I think, is a war party. The Democratic Party is a war party. And frankly, I think the Tea Party is a war party. How do you reconcile
The what, Tea Party?
Yes, with the Tea Party, with that philosophy, vis-a-vis the economic ramifications of that?
It's an educational effort to keep pointing it out. I mean, eventually we win the fight, but that's when the dire circumstances come. The empire ends. And the empire, even though we want to pick away, and we are able to get supporters, because they're all constitutionalists, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay, what does Article 1, Section 8 say? Oh, you can't go to war without a declaration. Well, where's the declaration? Oh, we didn't do that, but the president has to have this authority. You know, they rationalize all over. So you have to keep educating and try to connect their loyalty to the Constitution and their inconsistency by endorsing the war. But the finances will bring it down. We didn't have to fight the Soviets. But that to me was the most wonderful event probably of the 20th century. Just the crumbling. I was called to the military in the 60s. I was in for 5 years. And those were tough times, you know, with missiles pointing at each other. And I was caught up during the Cuban crisis. And that whole threat just crumbled and it dissipated. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think will happen. So just like the monetary system, we're not going to vote to get rid of the Fed. The Fed is going to go, when the monetary system collapses, then we have to have our real constitutional convention, make the monetary clause much more absolute, as well as these war issues too. But no, you cannot be for limited government and be for the type of wars going on. Randolph Bourne said, war is the health of the state. And of course, Smedley Butler, this famous general, said, war is a racket. And that's essentially what Eisenhower was saying. War is a racket. And it is disappointing, though, because the two parties talk differently. Republicans, say they don't claim they're going to go in and do it, even though they used to do that. Democrats now are saying we're going to end the wars, and they're bigger warmongers than the Republicans. And then Republicans get in, they're bigger spenders, or at least they try to be bigger spenders than the Democrats.
So we won at CPAC.
Yeah.
We won CPAC.
Yeah.
We were there. We were there.
Oh, good.
Dr. Paul, one of our biggest hot point issues